Yo, what's up YouTube? Danny James here, and in this tutorial I'm going to be breaking down some effects and transitions from Lil Tjay's music video with Fivio, blah blah, which came out a few days ago. I hope you do find it informative and it gives you a practical guide to most of these transitions and effects that you see on these music videos. Let's jump into it. Alright, real quick, here's a few timestamps of the effects that I'm going to be breaking down in this video. I'll be showing them real time as I introduce each and every other section. So we are basically going to learn how to do these zooming in and zoom out effects that you see constantly. We have some mask zoom effects that are done. We also have some flying text effects that you can see. Here is a 3D text that are flying around on the frame. You can also peep that transition. Yeah, you can see some of these transitions like this one. I'll show you how to do it on Premiere. At around 118, there's these VHS effects, stroke CRT effects, which I'll also show you how to do them on After Effects. Alright, we'll begin by doing the smooth mask transitions using foreground objects or background objects in the video. So we'll start by transitioning from this clip into this one using this structure right here. All you need to do is to duplicate your clip at the first frame, the clip that you're transitioning into, and freeze that frame. Then draw a mask around that structure. I'll get my pen tool. Okay, here's our quick mask. I'll come back to my selection tool and then I will hit M so that I can see the mask properties. I can put it on subtract, and the reason you can't see anything happening is because we need to squeeze this to our left hand side and trim anything that comes after the cut. So right here, that's where we're supposed to be able to see our mask. You can hit M twice and adjust the feathering, put it to around 6, 7, towards 10. Now all we need to do is to add some scaling keyframes, but before we do that, readjust the anchor point. Get the anchor point tool right here, move it from right here to inside the structure that you're using to transition in, such that now if we add keyframes for scaling, I'll drag that keyframe to the end, and then right now I'll scale into it. Like that, space them out, set them on easy ease. I'd advise you going to the graph editor, make the transitions fastest in the beginning by creating it at a right angle. Now it should look like this. Yeah, so that's really easy. And then you can adjust the timing of these two keyframes by keeping them farther apart or together from each other. Right, I'll go to the next one, which will be adding some VHS effects and creating some CRT looks on your videos. So I'll add those effects on this clip that is in yellow. Quickly add a new adjustment layer, and then I will make sure that it only covers this part on this clip that is right here. On our adjustment layer, I will add a couple of effects. Search mosaic, pick it under stylize, drop it there. Search for grid, under generate, put the grid, add a brightness and contrast. You can double click to add it. Again, search CC lens, double click, and then I will add a vignette, CC vignette, and we are also adding noise under noise and grain. And then we'll also need to add a glow. I personally recommend and use the universe glow. And then we'll finally need to also use transform. Once you've dragged and dropped all these effects, you can disable all of them and start with the first one. Under mosaic, put the values to 350, 350, and then enable sharp colors. Now you can see how the image is looking. And then on the grid, we'll re-enable the grid. Make sure you're using width and height sliders. Put these to 10, 10. You can leave the border at 5, okay? And then change the color for this grid into a black, and then change the blending mode to hard light. We begin to see the effect. And then re-enable the brightness and contrast. We're just going to hold Alt while clicking on this stopwatch for brightness, just so that you can add an expression, add wiggle. Let's put 10, 120. So it will switch with a frequency of 10 between 0 and 120 in terms of brightness randomly. What that does is that it adds a flickering effect that you'd see on an old monitor. Okay, now let's go to our CC lens. I'll start by increasing the size. 120 to 170 should be alright. And then we'll reduce the convergence towards the negative. I leave it at negative 128, 130, around there. And then we'll go to our vignettes. I just want to add some darkness on the corners of this video. So I'm increasing the value for amount, and I've also increased the angle of view. Now we'll go to our noise, increase the noise to about 15. And then we'll go to our glow settings. But before we do something on the glow, I will re-enable transform first. And the aim for this transform is to scale it back into fitting into the screen. Now, once we add the universe glow effect, it really does something else. Without doing much, you can see what it looks like. Now that looks good. Under the universe glow, you can always adjust the intensity just to fit in with the look that you want. I'll personally increase the intensity. Already this is looking good, and the advantage of using the universe glow is that you can affect the channels. If you want a green look, like the one you see on most of Fivio's songs, you can just put the input channel on green and everything should look good. You can switch to any other colors in case you're interested. I also like red. A red VHS is also looking alright. But now I leave it to RGBA. And then I'll do just one more thing to clear this up. I will add 2 more adjustment layers. On these 2 adjustment layers, we're just going to add brightness and contrast. Add the brightness and contrast on both of them. I will also trim them. For the first adjustment layer, this one here, I will increase the brightness, just max it. And then draw a quick mask. I will take the rectangle tool. I will draw a thin mask, something like that. Go back to my selection tool. Add a position keyframe. For the first frame, I will make sure it goes up, and then I'll go a few frames, drop it down through the screen. Once it goes through the screen, I will go 1 frame. You can use page down. I will take it back up, which I can also copy the first keyframe, paste it right there. So it means it will go right up immediately, and then we'll go a few frames. We can copy these keyframes now, and then you can paste it. So it gives us this line that is always dropping down, okay? And I can do the same thing with this other one. What I'll simply do, I'll delete that adjustment layer. I will duplicate this one that we've already added some keyframes on. And then I will go to the mask, click on the mask. I will enlarge this one so that it's a bit bigger than the other one. And then I'll hit you so that I can see those keyframes. What I'll do, I'll simply offset these keyframes so that they are not in unison with the one that is below us. Let's see what it looks like. What I'll just do, I'll slow down all these keyframes. They are a bit too fast for my liking. Yeah, you can see it's a really easy CRT effect that you can add on to your videos. One more thing I would recommend, in case you have the Danny James film matte overlays that are available on my shop, I'll try the matte number 2. You can see it moves just within this frame, and then set it on top of your adjustment layers. All you have to do is just to change the blending mode to multiply. Yeah, you can see the difference that it adds on the video. Now I'll show you how to do the flying 3D texts that you see on the music video, especially in the first few seconds. All you need to do is to add a text layer first. So you can see I've already added my text on top of the video, blah blah. And we need to use element 3D for this. So just go to your effects and search element, add a new solid first, and then drop that element on your solid. Go to the custom layers tab, under custom text and masks, choose the text layer that you just added, which is the blah blah, okay? And then you just need to go to our scene setup. It brings you here, just click on extrude so that it extrudes your texts. The aim for this is to make the text have some 3D effect on it and be a bit thick. Inside element 3D, you can zoom in and out using your scroll wheel. You can also hold Alt while clicking around just to move. Make sure you have your pointer tool first, and then hold Alt so that you can circle around your texts. Click on the extrusion model. Click this drop down so that it shows you the bevel. The bevel represents the extruding options, and now you should see them here. You can increase extrude value right here. Make sure you have this pointer tool. Hold Alt just to move around and see if it looks like what you want. Once you have that, we also need to scale it so that it's a bit bigger. So I'll click on the group folder and then I will scale it up. Use my scroll wheel to go back, and then a scaling of 200, this is good. Now one more thing is that we need to add a material onto it. Go to your presets, click on materials, physical. You can choose about anything, but I want something white. Click maybe on this one, double click, now it's on red. Click on the material that you just chose. You can use whatever color that you want, but I'll come back and change it to a white since that's what I want. And then I will increase the value for diffuse so that it shines and it gets that white feel. Now you can click OK, come back, and it should be set up all right. Now you can disable the visibility for the text layer that you created initially on After Effects, because everything should be right under here. You just need to go to your group settings. Okay, now we need to click on rotation, and you can set them at an angle. That way they look more 3D than ever. All you need to do is to add keyframes for position XY and position Z. Add those two keyframes, hit U so that you can see them. So I'll start by dragging the position Z, and then you can also drag it using the XY. Maybe they can start somewhere here, and then you can go later in time, and then you can adjust the position XY. You can drag it across the screen. You can also drag it upwards, okay, and then keep on pushing it maybe across the screen. And then you can also adjust your position Z. That way it also rises up like that. And then I'll take it out of the frame. You can set those to easy ease, and now it should be something like this. Yeah, looks really okay. Now you can add something else to spice this up. You just need to add turbulent displace so that the words also have a turbulent feeling onto them. And a turbulent displace, all you need to do is to go to the amount, reduce it to about 10, keyframe the turbulence, which is under offset, hit U so that you can see that keyframe. Okay, then later on in time you can increase the value up to around 2K. Yeah, around 2600 should be right. Put them to easy ease, and then I'll squeeze that keyframe later on. And the last effect that you need to add onto this is a glow effect. Again, I will add the universe glow and reduce the intensity. That's basically how you do the flying text particles. Now, in case you want multiple texts flying around, just like this, you can come back to your particle replicator, set it on 3D grid, set this to 1, just set the grid X to, let's say 2. Let's set 2 words right now, and then come back to your write down. On your replicator effects, right under scatter, I will increase the value for 1 scatter. Let me put it to around 14. Now it has another set of words right beneath it. You can use these other values just to align it how you want it to. So that's basically it. Alright, some other really cool effects that I saw in the video are some freeze frame effects and zooming out effects, which you can also do on Premiere. So on this clip that you're transitioning into, what they did, duplicate that, freeze that frame. In this case, we are adding a frame hold. I will also give it a different label color. On that frame hold, I'll go to opacity and then click on the free draw bezier. I'll come into my project, into my program, and then draw a quick mask around Tjay. I'll come back to my selection. The feathering is at 10, which I think is okay, and then I'll push this a bit earlier on and then make sure it ends at the cut. Okay, with our freeze frame appearing like that, we can go to our scaling keyframes, add a scaling keyframe, push it to the end, and then we can start it small, push that keyframe in the beginning, and then right at the middle we can make it go above 100, That's at 200, and then it will start at 30, go to 200, and then it will go back to 100. Put all those keyframes to Bezier. And then one more thing that I also saw, you can drag this freeze frame right above, and then you can add an adjustment layer. Set it right beneath there. Okay. Go to your effects, you can add a black and white, put it on the adjustment layer, and then you're going to adjust the opacity for it. Add a keyframe for opacity. It will be 100 at the middle. Make sure it resets, it goes back to 0 at the end of the cut, and make sure it also begins at 0. That way the transition will look something like this. Yeah, which is perfect. Now something else that I also saw were the zoom out and zoom in transitions that I used in the video a lot. If you have my Danny James high energy presets, this should be a walk in the park. Just get a sniper zoom in, put it at your clips that you want to have this effect. I also advise you can use a zoom out at the end of your clips so that it matches perfectly. And it should look like this. Yeah, that's how easily you can do these effects. Yeah, that's it from me today. I hope you did enjoy this tutorial. I also have other music video breakdowns which I've done on my channel. Just go to my playlist sections. I find them to be super informative, and they also give you a practical guide to doing these effects and transitions. Also feel free to check out my website at dannyjames.co for preset packs and LUTs that you might find useful. My name is Danny James. See you on the next tutorial. Peace.